Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my college advice series. I am going to talk to you today about things that no one tells you before you go to college. And maybe you've been told this, but I wasn't. So I thought it'd be helpful because I would like to know some of these things, and I'm sure you would too. So basically, these are just a few things that I didn't know when I got to college, but I learned. Some are more important than others, some are just little things that are kind of funny, so let's get started. Number one. You will constantly be running out of toilet paper. And I know this only applies if you have your own bathroom and you have to stock your own toilet paper, but if that's you, which was me, you go through it so fast and you have no idea where it goes. That was me in the entire semester. I was just like, how is this even possible? For me, there were 4 girls sharing one bathroom in between each of our rooms. And I mean 3 sometimes because my roommate, well, my suite mate lived alone a couple times. And it was just like frustrating because you would just buy like a whole new pack and you're like, okay, like this will last a while. And then 2 days later it's gone. You're like, what? Think that you're going to, you know, use this over a long period of time and save money. You're not. Be prepared to buy lots of toilet paper. It might be a good idea to figure out, like, write down who bought it first and keep track so you guys can take turns, or just pitch in money, whatever you guys want to do, and make sure you have a system for getting toilet paper, because if you run out, you don't want to be caught without it for a while and no one has a means to go get it. The next thing that no one told me about college is that smells will linger in your dorm room and you will want to vomit. Okay, not always, but it's such a small space and there's not so much ventilation that if you like, okay, I'm saying, when I say smells, I mean mostly food. If you microwave something and it has like a strong food scent, it will be there for like 10 hours if you don't, you know, cover it up or open a door or something. So definitely, okay, my dorm room had access to the outside, so when I opened the door, it was outside, it wasn't to a hallway. So we would open the door and that would kind of help like bring out the smells. But if you don't have that, get some Febreze or like open your window or whatever you have to do. But just try and push smells out, because if not, they will like stay in your dorm room. I don't know what it is about dorms. It's just the way they're built and how they're like spaced together. And just make sure you have some sort of like Febreze or something. The next thing that no one told me about college is you will be sick more than you humanly thought it was possible to be sick. Now, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but if you have a weak immune system, be prepared to stock up on Advil and Kleenex and all those things that you need when you have a cold, because college is basically one like big cold or like slight flu going around the campus. This probably is really discouraging because everyone's like, but I want to go to college. When you have so many people living so close together and sharing air and this and that, and once one person gets sick, it gets everywhere, and it's just like unavoidable. You will just be so annoyed because you want to try and not skip classes, but then you'll be like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. Just use a lot of hand sanitizer and preventative measures if you can. Take some vitamin C, but try and avoid getting sick, even though it's pretty hard. But just be prepared to be sick a lot. I mean, I'm probably exaggerating this a little bit. Like, I wasn't sick like 90% of the time or anything, but I was definitely, you just get sick a lot easier and a lot more often than when you're at home, is what I'm trying to say. Number 4, if you have a microwave, and not every room has a microwave, everyone on your floor will use your microwave except for you. When I say that the smells from like people microwaving food got trapped in our room, I'm not talking about me and my roommate. I'm talking about everyone else on our floor who came into our room saying, hey, can I borrow this microwave? And that was actually every day. If you decide to get a microwave, chances are either you constantly eat a food that needs to be microwaved, or you don't actually need it and everyone else on your floor will find a reason to need it. For every like 5 times the microwave was used, me and my roommate probably used it once, or a half a time. Be prepared to share your microwave if it's not in every single room, because you will. Another thing, this might just be me, but when I went to college in the beginning, I was pretty scared to seek out my professors and go to office hours and things like that, because I felt like it meant that I wasn't keeping up as well with the other students, and that I needed to like do it on my own, and I shouldn't have needed the help from the professor. But one thing that I wish I would have known is that professors want to help you, and they will be like if you go to their office hours and seek out extra help if you need it, they will kind of respect you more in a sense, because they'll know that it's really important to you to do well in their class. So I wish I would have known that office hours aren't to, you know, make the stupid kids catch up. They're really just to enhance your teaching and learning experience, and I just wish I would have known that in the beginning, because then I probably wouldn't have been so afraid. And they're not intimidating, it's just your professor hanging out in their office, you know, catching up on some like grading or whatever, and then you just go and ask questions, and it's not like a scary thing. So I wish I would have known that. Another thing I wish I would have known when I went to college is that there is no reason to have FOMO, I hate that word, or fear of missing out, because every day something new comes along. If you have a midterm the next day and you're like, but I really want to go to this party, like, you know, like you only live once, YOLO, college, so young, so fresh, whatever you say to yourself, young money, cash money, I don't know. You will have another opportunity to go to another party that will probably be even better than that one. So there will always be something that you're like, well, I want to go to this or this, because there's so much going on in college. But just remember that something else is going to come along the next day, and if you have to study, you should study. Probably a few times where I was like, well, this was a once in a lifetime opportunity, or I really want to go to this because it's just like everyone's going to it and it just seems like so much fun. But just remember, there will be tons more parties, tons more, you know, whatever, social gatherings, concerts, whatever there is at your school. So don't be too bummed about missing something if you choose to do schoolwork, because there will be so many more. Another big thing that I wish I would have known about college, that I'll probably explore more in like my packing video, is you do not need at least a third of the things that you pack in the beginning when you're going there. I learned this the hard way because I had so much stuff. I mostly learned this when I was packing up to go home that I never touched. I brought probably 20 pairs of shoes. I wore 3 maybe. And I just did not need so much stuff that I brought. And I mean, that's just kind of my nature in packing, is I'll pack a ton of stuff, even if I'm pretty sure I won't use it, because I want to have the option to use it, and I would rather have it there and not use it than wish I had it there and not have it, if that makes sense. So that's just me, but like I really learned, I really want to push this. You do not need a lot of stuff that you think you do. Mostly clothes. I wish I had left at least a third of my clothes at home, because I didn't wear a lot of them. I brought probably like 6 heavy sweaters. I went to school in Southern California. I literally went to school in Southern California. I didn't touch one jacket the entire year. I wore a sweater a couple times when it was colder, but I didn't like bring my zip-up jackets or anything. I didn't use my raincoat. Actually, I think I did once. Downsize it by a third. That's my rule. Another thing that no one told me that, I mean, it's not that I wish I knew it, because it's just something you learn naturally. I mean, I kind of talked about it with my friends. You really start to see people's true personalities about 3 weeks into college, which sounds weird, but you'll understand it. And if you've been through it, then you kind of understand. In the beginning, it's not like people are fake, but they're really trying to put their best foot forward because they want to be outgoing and they want to meet a bunch of new people, which is awesome. But you'll start to see kind of like different traits of people coming out about 3 weeks to a month into college, when they're settled and feel comfortable around people. And that's when you might realize, maybe I wasn't really making the right choice spending so much time with this person, or maybe this isn't the kind of person that I want to get to know more, or something like that. I mean, I don't want to say this like to make it seem scary, like, oh, all the people you meet are actually going to be awful people after 3 weeks. It's not that. It's just that don't feel like you completely know someone until you've spent about a month with them, because that's like the mark point of when their true self is like finally there. And this probably counts for you too, even if you don't realize it and you do it subconsciously, is that the walls start to come down at about 3 weeks. And that's when you'll kind of like see people's like weird habits. So that's what happened with my roommate, is that when we didn't actually like really bond and click until about a month into school. And that's okay. And I'm just saying, like, if you don't completely click with someone at first, give it time and don't give up on them, because after 3 weeks, it just happens. I mean, for me, it was 3 weeks for a lot of people that I met. And then you'll kind of really see them for who they are, which sounds like you'll see the dark side of them after 3 weeks, but it's not like that. It's just like, wow, like I didn't know the side of this person, which it could be a good thing too. So yeah, it's just like a weird thing, which it depends on the person also. Some people, the person you meet on the first day will be the person they are for the rest of the year. And I'm not saying everyone's fake, and I'm not saying everyone changes after 3 weeks. It's just that's about the time you need to spend with people or know them for them to like really open up as their true selves, I guess is what I'm saying. Something I wish I would have known: your floor will constantly need to be vacuumed. Please do it, please. Your residence hall will definitely have way too many fire drills at midnight when you're in the shower. It'll happen, don't worry. Mail and packages that you receive at college will become Christmas, because I mean, I thought that like packages in the mail were the best thing ever when I lived at home. No, when you're in college and you get that email, your package has arrived at the package room. Yes! Best day of your life, every time. Every time, it never gets old. I love it. Quiet hours do not exist. It's not a thing. The residence RA, whatever your school calls it, it's usually RA, will say that the quiet hours are between this and this. They don't exist. They'll be loud all the time. People will be loud. People will start vacuuming their room next to you at 2 a.m. People will be blasting music. Mostly my swing mate was doing that all the time. So if you have like a sensitivity to noise and you're trying to sleep, bring earplugs. If you're a freshman with a car, you'll have many friends. If you don't have a friend who has a car, find one. That doesn't mean use people for their car. It just means you will definitely want a way around. I guess that kind of sounds like that people use you for your car, which they kind of will sometimes. But people need it in good fun, I guess. Don't buy your books. Don't. It's a waste of money. This is horrible advice probably, because your parents are like, you need to get all your books. I probably bought 1 out of every 6 books I was assigned. Passed all my classes. I got a 4.0 in the second semester. You don't need all the books. This is very general though. It really depends on the class, but all my classes, I did not need the books. A lot of my professors would make PowerPoints based off the books that were everything we'd be tested on. You don't need the book, generally. I would really recommend for this, I'm not saying never buy your books, but I am saying be careful about which books you buy. College books are so expensive and they're so heavy, and just like, it's a total waste if you buy a book and never open it. That happened to me a few times per semester, and I was like, I'm not doing this again. I don't need it. So talk to people who've taken the class before, look online and rate My Professor or something where it talks about the professor and their use of textbooks, and if you really need it. If you don't absolutely necessarily need it, don't buy it. Or rent it if you really aren't sure, because then you don't spend as much money. I barely ever bought books, and this is probably horrible advice because you might get to college and take this advice and then you'll need all your books. But for my classes at least, I did not need them, so I did not buy them. So just be careful about the books you buy, because sometimes you'll think it's important. The professor will say this is 100% necessary for the class, but you'll never look at it once. Okay, there's probably a lot more that I could go through and talk about, but I'm gonna end it here because that is a long enough video. Comment down below if you have anything to add to this list or have any questions about any of these. Again, take everything I say with a grain of salt, because your school could be different, your classes could be different, your professors, blah blah blah, everyone's different is what I'm saying. But these are things that I learned over the course of my freshman year that I wish I had known in the beginning. So thanks for watching this video. I love you guys. Let me know what other college advice videos you're dying to see, and I'll see you next time.